Good evening, everybody. I hope you are all very, very well on this Monday evening, and it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you back to the Cleasby Craic painting show. We haven't done a show in a while, and I'm very happy to have you live, here, happy and ready. Now, two things to mention. Tonight we're going to be painting Venice. That's what we're going to be painting. A sort of lovely sunset scene over some beautiful crisp water in Venice, in watercolours, and I've got my station lined up here. So that's what we're going to be painting, Venice, and I hope you're ready and tuned in. I've got my cup of tea, and I've got my cake. It's the Baha'i fast at the moment, which means I have been fasting all day, and I have now broken my fast with a cup of tea and some pasta and some beautiful food, and it is a beautiful thing, food and drink, beautiful thing. If you don't know if you've heard of the Baha'i faith or the Baha'i fast, do check it out, it is a glorious thing. Now, back to Venice, that's what we are going to be painting. So, effectively, we're going to be trying to capture the essence of sort of light just rising over the horizon, just settling onto the water. I'll show you the picture that we're going to be basing it on today. The sort of picture we're going to be basing it on. So a beautiful sort of Venetian scene. That's what we're going to be working on. So I hope you're taking in those visuals. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. So a beautiful little painting of Venice. I hope you're happy and well and ready to join in. Now, the first thing to sort of remember when you're painting these sort of scenes, like aquatic scenes, especially with lots of light, is to really get a good structure first. So once you get your structure and you've got all your base of your painting, then you can think about colour and effect. So what I like to do when it comes to structure is get a little small brush, like about this size, for example, and start off in blues. Blues are a good colour. It's a very sort of prominent colour. It sort of brings everything into play. Now, the first step is to decide, just map out where everything's going to go. So with this blue here, I'm just drawing my buildings. So this is the first step. So with this blue, really simple, nothing difficult. I'm just basing this off a picture. It's almost like you're drawing, but with the brush. So let the brush do the talking, and no problem if there's any residue and it just flashes it all down. So nice and light, just sketching out. It's basically just sketching out your painting. You're just getting a nice structure and you're just layering it all in. So you can do it in blues, and what this is just, you're saying to yourself, right, these are the zones I'm going to be painting in, and if you want to get any reflection, this is what I'm aiming for, is the reflection. So if this is the landscape, then obviously you want to get some little trickles of reflections in there. And then, well, it goes to the sky. So what I've done there, one colour, one brush, map the whole thing out. So you can see there, I've got my buildings coming into here, the little dome coming over. Obviously you can see where the water is, and where it's all going. So that's the first step. Map it all out, get a nice structure, keep it nice and cheeky. Now, the next step is to get a big brush. I'm talking like one of these ones. And just wet that bit there. Just get it all nice and juicy. Just what this is, although you might not be able to see it so clearly on the camera, this is just a good step here. You're just breaking that mold a little bit. So you get nice and wet there. Now, once you've done this, the next step is to start thinking about, the paper's just popping up a little bit there. Just making sure it's nice and straight. The next step is to think about the colours. So I would return back to that same brush that we went on, and I would say, let's start with some reds. Nice, bold, prominent, good old red. So just colour in the building. And all this is we're really just colouring it in, giving it some nice, and this is just blocks. It's like Play-Doh, cheese, blocks, anything, just whatever you want to call it, just boom, getting it all nice and blocked out. So that's the next step. So you can see I've blocked out the colours. So once I've done red, I can then move on to a different colour. Let's move on to some cream. Nice colours there. See that? That's some beige there. And the good thing is, if this is a sunset, I can get that beige there. I can just imagine that this is the colours of the sun just peering over. Some people think when it comes to painting that it's all very tidy and nitty-gritty. Sometimes not the case, just nice, bold, elaborate strokes. It's about getting that feeling, suggest the feeling of what's going on. And once you've suggested that feeling and you've got the colour out the zones properly laid out, then you've got the essence. Because it's not a photograph. We're not making photographs here. We're really painting a sort of an emotive landscape here. So really trying to get the essence of that feeling there. So making sure it's coherent. So whatever happens to the sky happens to the foreground. So you can see how in the sky here I've gone for that beige orange. And if you obviously in the reflection you've got the orange there too. So just making sure that those two reflect with each other. Making sure that goes like that. Now, one very important thing when it comes to painting is contrast. So, for example, if you make a dark tone, put a light tone next to it, make sure those two are quite a little bit adjacent. So here you might be able to notice that we've got things called mid-tones at the moment, which is obviously, as the name implies, in the middle. It's neither too dark, neither too light. So what we need to do to give this painting some contrast, beautiful cup of tea, is get some dark tones in there. So we can get some nice dark blues and browns and mix those two together and just get jiggy with it. So basically, I would suggest at the top of these buildings here, a nice dark blue line. See what I've done there? And look, it trickles down a bit. Good, embrace the trickle. Embrace that trickle. The trickle works well. The trickle's a good thing. So what I would suggest is, over those initial blue lines that you made, just get the blue. Those of you who have just joined, welcome to the Cleasby Craic Painting Show. It's an absolute pleasure to host you this evening. I hope that you're happy and well. Do let me know, post below, what have you guys been up to today? Anyone be making any art, anything interesting from the day? I taught a Spanish and a French lesson today, and I taught a French song, and the French song was Pour le petit déjeuner. Pour le petit déjeuner. So the kids in the class would go Pour le petit déjeuner. Pour le petit déjeuner. And they click and do this, like Pour le petit déjeuner. And then the other half of the class would go pour le petit déjeuner. J'aime les croissants. So pour le petit déjeuner. J'aime les croissants pour. And it was a beautiful little moment of sort of improvisation, and the kids enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. And just as is the case with croissants and the French way of life, I do enjoy also making paintings of Venice. So that's the highlight of my day, to be honest with you all. And obviously breaking the fast with a beautiful cup of tea. Now, basically, this is the feeling of where we're going. So you can see where we're going with this. Once you've mapped out where the buildings are and you've got the structure, it's a really simple case of just dabbing with the brush to make those little the little windows and the archways. So you'll start to see as we go on. Literally, look, little brush stroke like that is a window, another window, another window. Not too and then obviously further distance, smaller little dabs to imply that there's things going on in the distance. But this is the fundamentals of Impressionism. And it's all about, as an implied, you're giving that little impression of something in the distance, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. And one of the very famous things about Venice, are these little wooden things that come out through the ground there. And then there's little reflections. See that? Now, one thing to do here to make the reflections quite convincing in the water, hold the brush at quite a distance like this and just tickle the brush, the painting. Just tickle like this. And by just tickling it like that, you give that scratchy, reflective feel. So it's all about that scratchy, little reflective feel. Now, as I've mentioned before, whenever you make a dark tone, you must make a light tone. So the aim here is that we're going to coordinate little areas of zone. Oh, it's beautiful. One of the very good things that happened recently, yesterday, was it's a very lovely Lebanese restaurant. And I must confess, Lebanese food, God, one of the best. Do share your comments below. What do you guys think of Lebanese food? I think it's got to be up there. After Persian food, I think is the best. If you have anyone who's watching, if you've never had Persian food before, got to do it. Got to have it. Now, as I've been talking about here, this is the zones. We need to give that depth now. So obviously, we need to try to give the impression of the bricks, but it's sometimes quite hard to get the impression of like coarse material, obviously, with watercolours. So the outstanding feature, in my opinion, of Venice is the colour. So what you've got to do with this zonal tonal areas, just really bring in that strong colour, but definitely do not paint over those windows. Leave those windows nice and blue and red coming out. So you just paint through and over. So there you can see I've gone for a beige colour. And obviously if it's beige at the top, then the beige is going to reflect into the water. So somehow try and incorporate that, but obviously not too rigid. Keep it nice and loose. Loosey goosey is the way. So obviously the red that I've done there is very strong, so I'm gonna have to make it a bit more red now in the actual painting. In my opinion, I mean, there is only one guy really to go to when it comes to painting Venice, and that's Canaletto. And for anyone who's living in London, National Portrait Gallery, it's got a beautiful collection of paintings by Canaletto as you just walk into one of the first buildings. I was there very recently and just in awe. I mean, basically this guy only painted Venice. There was nothing else this chap painted. I mean, of all the things in the world to paint, Venice has got to be one of the best, because you've got this beautiful harmony of sort of skies and water and architecture, and it's just this beautiful Gothic architectural paradise with lovely coffee, and I'm talking beautiful coffee. So if you like those things and you've never been to Venice, you must go. Has anyone who's watching been to Venice? I'm sure there's someone out there watching right now who has been to Venice, and if you have, do share your thoughts. I would love to hear any interesting stories of Venice. I've been 3 times. Always happy to go back. If I had the chance, I would go. Absolutely adore the place. They say it's sinking, but is it? I mean, I don't know. I suppose it's flooding. And this is where it gets a bit tricky, because you just have to try and give that complexity. And it just comes with trying to just give that feeling, you know? You're trying to convey that feeling of what exactly is this place all about. And it's nice colours, nice harmony. Now, the dome is obviously there. We've got the dome going down. We've got the buildings going down. We just need to be a little bit more poignant there with the window. Making sure it... As I said, it's all about those dark tones and those light tones. The thing is about dark tones and light tones is that this is why it's very important sometimes to do things like drawing as well as doing painting, because monochrome when you do monochrome things on black and white, it helps you to appreciate all that stuff. It helps you to appreciate like the value of contrasts. So you can see here that although it's building, you can just sort of see the intention there of just trying to make it nice, solid colours. Nothing too in the middle. You want to make it convincing that it's dark, light, coming together. It's what the Italian term is chiaroscuro. Very, very beautiful technique, which was invented... Well, I don't know if it was invented necessarily, but a guy who's really amazing for it was a guy called Caravaggio. He didn't paint Venice. Canaletto was a Venice guy. You've got to check him out. But Caravaggio was very famous for introducing chiaroscuro as a technique, light and dark. Now, that it usually works for sort of internal interior spaces. Internal, interior, just interior spaces. But equally, you can apply the same technique in landscape painting. Just light and dark contrast. Now, I would say we're about 3/4 of the way. And what we've got to try and do now is we've got to try and just give that little bit of extra flavour. You know, start putting the salt and pepper on the painting, or putting the olive oil on the pizza, or the cream on top of the cake, or the icing on top of the cake, rather. What you've got to do now, I mean, you've got to try and just give that little something. So on the building, just give that little bit of pink coming through, that bit of brown coming through, which can be conveyed just by just dragging some water across. You don't want it to look too flat. You don't want your colours to look flat. And one way to make sure that your colours don't look flat is to like weave and blend the colours together on the page. And just give the extra little bit of something, a bit of va-va-voom, you know. Now obviously, because this is the water, you just need to give just hint at reflections. Don't make it too obvious. You know, just subtle. Subtlety is key. Organisation, subtlety. I like that interplay between the two. Organisation, but a little bit of subtlety. Room for improvisation. Like Manchester United against Liverpool. Ooh. Now, we're almost there. Can you see how there is that little bit of looseness, but it's also quite defined? That's the idea that I'm going for here in the painting. And we are almost finished, but the last bit I would say is just at the top, just add a bit of blue. And then make that blue just sink into the sky. let it roll down. Absolutely awesome. Let it roll down. It gives the impression that the blue is just hugging some white clouds. Nothing wrong with that at all. But obviously, make sure it's reflected at the bottom. Make sure you put that blue there at the bottom. And there's got to be little threads of pink. Just threads of pink coming through. Just dab, use your finger. Dab again. So dab, 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 dab. Use your finger. God gave us hands for a reason. Use them. See? And then whatever you put to the sky, put to the ground. And what I want to do now, is the last thing is to paint a little gondola. You know, like the little boats. So what we need to do here is just need to imagine you're on a romantic gondola trip in Venice, sunset. Seems great to me. Coffee, nice food, nice vibes, good architecture, good music, I suppose. Although Venice isn't particularly renowned for music, but I suppose there is some good festivals or carnivals or stuff like that. And you just got those little wooden poles going. Now, just make them just like that. Can be random because that's where the boats dock. Just little sticks. Just let them come out of the ground, nice and chill. And then the last thing is we need to paint a little man on our boat. We'll call him. What should we call him? I'm tempted to call him Mario, but I feel that's a bit too cliche. But we're going to call him Mario because it's just the way it is. Oh, Luigi. Well, even that's a bit more. It's a bit more. Yeah, obvious. Sometimes it's alright to do that. So you just got a man there, a little silhouette of a guy. You're in a gondola crash, dude. James, wow, that's intense. Do let me. Do fill us in. We've got a man here live on the show who was in a gondola crash. Do explain. It sounds less dramatic than a car crash, but I'm intrigued to find out what happened. What were the? Well, do explain. I'm intrigued. Obviously, if you don't want to share at this time, that is also totally cool. But I am intrigued to find out. Well, you've been my audience, and I've been blessed to have you. I have painted a little rendition here for you live of Venice. Nice, quick, fresh March 2018 painting. A few principles to share when it comes to painting from the show, which I'd be love to share with you, which I hope if you are a painter or you love to paint, I'll be happy to share with you. The first thing, when it comes to watercolour painting, you've got to map out your structure, get organised, what's going down, what's the structure of your painting. So you can do that with a little brush. Don't need to do any under drawings, don't need to do any under wash. Well, you can do an under wash, but if you do an under wash, let it dry, and then you can do some top. Blue, Prussian blue, ultramarine blue, sketch out, map out your structure, what's going on, what's where, how is it going to look. Once you've mapped out and you've organised your piece, then you can start washing the paper through, getting that feeling and that texture. Once that's dried, then you can paint into your structure as if you're like colouring in, like painting by numbers, but without the numbers. And then working with some colour contrasts, some harmonies, and also reflections are very important. So, and focusing on chiaroscuro, dark and light. So, obviously, if we drew the buildings first, for example, mapped it all out, and then we said, okay, we've got the sky is yellow, and we're going to put the seas yellow, nice peach, stretch it up to the blue, make it all reflect, get the buildings worked in, give that feeling of strong colour. This is very much like a kind of a preparatory work. So this kind of piece you wouldn't necessarily sell as a painting outright, unless you do like it, in which case you can sell. However, this is the sort of thing you would do as like a preparatory work for like a big oil painting. And that's that. I call it Venice at Sunset. I'm very happy to have had you on the show. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And for all you awesome people out there, have a lovely Monday. I hope that your Tuesday is beautiful. And look forward to seeing the next show, which should be either next Monday or this weekend. Do let me know. Drop some comments below about the painting. Venice at Sunset. Oh, also one thing to remember is you've got to focus on colour harmonies when it comes to painting. And this can be sometimes subconscious. So purple and yellow, orange and blue, red and green. Working with these harmonies is really important to kind of giving that bit of extra flavour, like your salt and your pepper to your pasta or your olive oil to your pizza, or icing on your cake. It just gives that extra little something just to have inside your mind. So that's that. Have a wonderful evening, and remember, Canaletto, Cannelletto, Canaletto, National Gallery in London. If you do happen to live there, check those paintings out. They are an inspiration to humanity. Do check them out and have a beautiful Monday.